I find at times during the season, it's easy to get kind of focused on outcomes. And obviously we want those outcomes, but you have to continue to stay focused on the process and what are the things that we can do from a day-to-day standpoint that we can get better, right? Because that's what's really going to get us the outcome that we're looking for. So we actually had that talk yesterday before practice and just said, hey, let's refocus, right? We need to do this, right? And we certainly want to get better. We got off to a really good start. We're still doing well, but we also have to rise with the tide a little bit here. And we know that Kentucky's a really good team. They're doing well this year. We know that's going to be tough anywhere to beat them, especially at home. But we're going to go in and focus on our own team and making some improvements that we've been working on and instituting those into routines. And I think if we do those, then we walk away and have gotten better. And that's really our goal this weekend, is to get better.
I believe you said on our last meeting that February is a little bit more about consistency. Is the lineup that you put together this last time out kind of the one that you're thinking you want to stick with, or are you still thinking there's going to be some mixing and matching going on?
Yeah, I think we're getting there. I mean, we obviously had an opportunity with a non-conference meet last weekend, and not that Texas women is a bad team, but we had a little more breathing room, obviously, versus maybe when we go up against some conference stuff. And so it gave us a little bit of an opportunity to plug in some different people in those lineups. Not that, and they were ready. Those kids were ready. Actually, a lot of those new routines did well for us. It was some of our other routines that were a little bit off on a couple of spots. But so yeah, I think from a lineup consistency standpoint, I definitely think we're wanting to. The goal is to put 4 events together. That's number one. Is right. Is to put 4 events. I feel like again we've been really good on like 3, a little off on 1, or off on a couple. So I think really for February, this is a great opportunity for us to really attack that kind of consistency across all events right there. Now, what that means within lineups, yeah, I mean, I think we're seeing, I think I think we've had similar people, and we've probably had about 7 or 8 different people of those 6 spots in a lineup pretty consistently. I think we're getting close on vault, although I do think we have opportunity to get better there on that end. But I think if we look at vault, right, Sienna's been every weekend, Grace Ann's been in every weekend. Amari, Hannah, and Jocelyn have been in every weekend. So we're really just talking about one spot on vault that we've been kind of rotating a little bit on there. We are hoping to add a 10-0 vault, and we had JJ in there last weekend, so that gave us 4 10-0 vaults. So we went for, we took some risk there and put them all out there, and I think it paid off in some spots, a little off in the others, but I do think we're getting closer. It's one thing to practice something, it's another thing to actually go and do it in game time. So sometimes we got to just figure that out and see how they respond to that. I think bars is, I think we're really close right there to finding our ideal lineup. I think we're just, a lot of times we're just looking at that kind of 2 and 3 spot. So the second kid up and the third kid up, and just figuring out what that looks like right there. I think there's still some opportunity, and that's not a bad thing. We have some very competitive kids, and so we're trying to continue to give them opportunities in the lineup. And beam again, I think I think we made a change last week and we put Amari up first, and so that was really good. We just felt like we needed a little bit something different in that warm up, or that lead off spot, so we actually changed that. And that was great. And she did a great job for us. She got us going with a 9.825, which is a pretty solid score for the first time in that leadoff spot. So a lot of good stuff there. Floor, I think we've been fairly consistent on floor, at least from week to week, a little bit of change, but I think that floor lineup will stay the same. I think we're still kind of working out kind of that second and third spot on beam and bars a little bit on there. But yes, I would think by the end of this month, we'll be in kind of a little bit more of an even flow, and hopefully a flow where we keep that the same as we move on. So, I don't know if that was somewhat vague, but I think we're still figuring it out a little bit, but not in a bad way. I think in a good way, because we're just trying to figure out what the best combination is. So.
Coach, I'm wondering if you could go through each event and kind of say just a little bit about what improvements specifically you're looking for going into the meet on Friday.
Yeah, we'll just start with vault because it's there. Yeah, I think we just had a couple of not a couple. Sienna and Grace Ann were just a little off on their landings last weekend. They've been pretty solid. I think they've stuck a lot of vaults for us. So I think just a little bit. Obviously, we want to start out a little bit more normal. There is probably the better way to put it. Um, um, on there. So yeah, I think taking care of some landings over there. We didn't have any sticks on vault last weekend. So I'd like to get back and get at least a couple, get a little bit more solid there. I think would be one area, and get off to a little bit of a stronger start in our 1-2 spot, which I think is going to be fine. Um, they've been doing great over there. So try not to overreact if it's kind of a one-off mistake. Those things happen at times. Bar wise, yeah, I think pretty good. Again, I thought we weren't bad. I know Amaya had a fall, but other than that, we weren't bad. Other than we need to do a little better job. Again, when we do well on bars, it's because a lot of times we're sticking dismounts. And so I think, again, we got to get, a little more solid over there on the landings, right? On that part. I think we'll have Jocelyn will probably be back in on bars. We were kind of resting her. She had, gymnasts get what we call rips, and so they get like a blister. And anyways, we're just trying to give her hand a week to kind of heal up there and get rid of that rip that was on her hand over there. So on beam, I think we were doing well. Actually, beam was probably one of our best performing events from a stick standpoint and a hitting. I think Mara has a lot of potential to score really high if she can just. I think we're working on her confidence level and just making some slight little technical adjustments right there. But I think that's somebody who she's got 9-9 plus potential over there, and I think we're gonna be working towards that. So everybody else did great. Grace Ann was awesome on beam last weekend. Sienna, again, awesome on beam last weekend, right? So great to see her rebound the way she did. We had a mistake at LSU, and then she comes back and goes, near perfect score over there. So on that end, yeah, so I think just trying to think of improvements. I probably am just telling you personnel changes and some things like that. A little cleaner on beam. I think we still have some little form stuff we want to work on, just a little bit of legs and feet and some things right there. And floor's been pretty good. I can't really complain about that. Boy, I wish we had some more stuff, but I think just for floor, I'm just trying to keep it moving in the same direction. We were 49.6 and 49.5 the last 2 weekends, so that's some good stuff over there.
Even though
Obviously,
there's no defense in gymnastics, do you think that it adds a little bit of extra motivation for your team whenever you guys go up against a top 5 team?
Well, absolutely it does. Yeah, I mean, sure. I think any SEC team, but it's, especially if they're doing well, right? Like that's an opportunity for us, right? I would think most people out there are probably like, yeah, Kentucky's going to win this meet, right? If they're looking at it from the outside in. We're looking at it as, hey, man, this is a great opportunity. Just like when LSU came to us, we're like, this is a great opportunity. They're number 3 or whatever they were ranked at the time. So we look at it as an opportunity. I feel like we have an opportunity to go in and do some good stuff and put some pressure on them, right? And so I think anytime you can go in, and keep it close the whole meet, I think you're doing your job, because then I think you try to avoid letting the other team kind of run away with it early, because then it's hard to dig yourself back out. It's like getting down by 2 or 3 touchdowns in the first half. That's tough, right? So on there, but definitely, I think it's great motivation. I think it's exciting. I feel like we have the opportunity to go in and be even more motivated, especially going into Kentucky's house.
how have you seen your team grow? You're kind of at the midway point of the season, not just kind of on the mats, but maybe off the field, out of the gym. Kind of as the season goes on, you're at the midway point. It feels like high stakes come when you hit the SECs, hit nationals. How's your team feeling at this point of the year?
Yeah, I think they're doing well. I've really been pleased with them. I mean, from a consistency standpoint, we've been really good. I mean, we've hit a lot of routines. They're not always our absolute top routines, but look, consistency wins, and we're being consistent. And I think that's when one of our great attributes this year, quite honestly. It is time though. Like we have to make that next step, within our program and get to that next level. I always tell our freshmen, look, after January, you're not a freshman anymore, right? So it's you've been in 4 or 5 meets, which is typically in high school, that's almost their entire season. So But yeah, I feel like the growth has been good. I feel like our leadership is good. I feel like our freshmen, our newcomers, they're doing great. I mean, they're competing a lot of routines for us. I mean, on any given weekend, they're probably 25 to 33%, of our lineups. That's a lot. And so I'm really happy with them over there. But yeah, the camaraderie is good. The culture is good. I think we're just trying to find that next gear now as we move into February. And with a lot of road meets, that's important. Those away scores are important for us, more important than our home scores, quite honestly.
What are the
Yeah,
key
so you
things
kind of
you're
just
looking
mentioned the
for?
freshman there. What do Hannah and Kennedy and Raina have been very big for you this year. Talk about a little bit how the impact freshmen have just been able to adjust to, tough conference play so quickly coming out of high school.
Yeah, great. Well, yeah, I mean, and I credit some of our coaches and our staff too, of putting them in positions where they can be successful too, which has been great. But yeah, I mean, they were recruited because they were talented young ladies. But I have been really pleased with how quickly they've acclimated to the SEC competition. I think they're doing a great job. Obviously Kennedy got a little bit of a late start. Just had just some minor medical stuff that kept her kind of delayed some training. So what's cool about her is that I think we've got like she's kind of just starting to get going, quite honestly, in my mind, and I'm excited for her. And I think she's got an opportunity to do something, some big stuff for us on vault. It's going to take us a couple of weeks here, but I think we'll talk about that a little later in the season. But so really excited for her. I think now that we're kind of getting some more consistent training, Raina is a good competitor. I think Raina's done a great job. The one thing about her is that like when she goes in, we know what we're going to get. It's just getting her execution a little higher, a little bit of form with Raina, and just tightening up a little things like. But she'll go in and hit, which is awesome. And Hannah has so much ability, and she was a little bit raw from a gymnastic standpoint, but so athletic and so gifted. So it's just kind of merging those things a little bit with her. But yeah, really, that's a great class of young women and gymnasts, and I've been super impressed with their ability to get out there and get the job done, pretty much every time they step up. So it's cool. That bodes well for our future.
You've talked a little bit about it already, but what are some of the key things that you're looking for in this meet coming up on Friday in Lexington?
Yeah, I mean, let's get back. I mean, again, just let's clean up some landings, and I want to see them attack from the first event. Like we need to get out and attack right away. So we're going to start on bars. We need to get out and make a statement right away. Like, hey, look, we're here to compete. We're not just going to try to make up the difference as we move along, right? That's a hard thing to do, right? Then you put yourself in a position of waiting for the other team to make a mistake, which is not what we want to do. Now, if they want to make one, that's great, but we want to be in that kind of that front seat there right when the meet starts and get going. So that's what makes for a fun competition too, right? It's not fun when I mean, well, unless we're winning. It's not fun if one team's getting blowing the other team out. It's fun. Like that LSU meet was fun. It was back and forth, right? And that makes for good entertainment. And I think our kids thrive off that type of environment too. So. All right.
Got any
Whatever.
more questions?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, of course.
Cool. Hey,
So real
listen,
quick, actually,
yeah, go ahead.
if you don't mind, what is
Yep.
your favorite part of coaching?
Yeah, I mean these Zooms with you guys, of course. So I was gonna say I appreciate you guys coming on every week and covering our team. I think that's awesome. I think it's hopefully you get some good information, and obviously the gymnastics is growing. But yeah, I think my favorite thing, I really enjoy like the competitions are great, and I love seeing people respond in like to and thrive in very competitive environments. I think that's really cool. But I think even more than that, I like seeing the growth just as a person, like too. But those things happen. They happen together, right? If they're getting better in competition, they're growing as humans too, and just in life. And I think that's really cool. I really like planning practices. Like I love dissecting film and planning practices. I think that's fun too, because you get to, it's like you get to dissect it, and then you're like, all right, here's how we're going to make this better, fix this. and then you get to see if it actually worked, right? So I think those are kind of cool things to do. But I enjoy hanging out with our team and just, you know, they keep me young. I think I always tell people that. I'm like, look, the cool thing about working with this 18 to 22-year-olds is they got so much life. They're so excited every day. And I get to do this, you know, and they keep me young, keep me probably younger than I am. So, well, they give me some bags too, but they keep it fun. So I do enjoy that part of it. You know, I go to adult parties and I'm like, boy, this is so boring. I need to go hang out with the college guys, right? So yeah, so I like that energy that they bring. They keep it fresh and they keep me young and they make me laugh. So yeah.
All right.
Cool.
Thank you all for hopping on Zoom today.